All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're diving into a really fascinating chapter of the Quran. According to our source material, it's got this incredible cosmic mystery and, get this, a biological puzzle all wrapped into one. We're going to explore how these ancient words stack up against what we know from modern science.
So it kicks off with this really powerful, kind of mysterious oath. It says, by the sky and the knocker. Right away, you're hooked. You have to ask, what on earth is the knocker?
And what's cool is the text itself then asks the question for you. It's like it's saying, yeah, I know you're wondering. This is basically a big signpost telling us, hey, pay attention, something important, and maybe a little mind-bending is coming up.
Okay, so let's get into what this knocker, or Atarik in the original Arabic, actually is. The text gives us some clues. The source material really hones in on this description of it being a star that, well, it doesn't just shine. It pierces the darkness. And it flickers, but way, way slower than the stars you'd normally see twinkling out in the desert.
Yeah, this is key. It's not just any star. It's specifically called the piercing star. And the source is really clear on this. We're not talking about the usual twinkling you see, the kind caused by stuff in our own atmosphere. This is describing something totally different.
All right, so this is where it gets really interesting. Let's look at the modern scientific take that our source presents. I mean, what kind of cosmic object could possibly fit this very specific, ancient description of a knocking, piercing star that has this deliberate, slow flicker?
Okay, so on one hand, you've got your regular atmospheric twinkling. We all know that. But the source argues that this verse is pointing to something way more specific, and frankly, way cooler, a pulsar. So a pulsar is the super dense, spinning neutron star, and it shoots out these powerful beams of energy from its poles. And as it spins, that beam sweeps across space. From our point of view here on Earth, it creates this very regular on-off effect, which is much more deliberate than just random twinkling.
So think of it like this. You have this incredibly dense star, spinning super fast. It's blasting out these beams of energy. It's basically a cosmic lighthouse. And every single time that beam sweeps past us here on Earth, our instruments pick up a pulse, a knock, if you will, from deep space.
And this is the real kicker. The source argues that calling it a knocker is like scientifically spot on. Because when our radio telescopes pick up these energy beams from pulsars, we can actually convert those signals into sound. And what do you get? A rhythmic pulse, a beat. It's literally a knock from space that we can detect, even if we can't hear it with our own ears.
Okay, so hold on to that thought because the text is about to make a huge pivot. According to the source, we're zooming out from the massive scale of the cosmos all the way into the microscopic origins of human life. It's another puzzle, and it's all about connecting the biggest things in the universe to the smallest. So check this out. The next verse talks about where the fluid for human creation comes from, and it gives a really specific location between the backbone and the ribs. Now, for hundreds of years, people looked at this and thought, wait a minute, that just doesn't make sense with basic anatomy.
And here's the problem in a nutshell. The verse says the origin is deep inside the body, right? But we know that the fluid is actually produced in the testicles, which are, outside the main body. So, as the source points out, for a very long time, this was just chalked up as a straight-up anatomical mistake.
But then, modern embryology comes along. And this is a pretty recent field of science. And according to the source, it offers a jaw-dropping solution. It turns out that when a fetus is developing, the gonads, what will become the testicles, don't start where they end up. No, they actually form way up in the abdomen, right by the kidneys. Their starting point is exactly where the verse says, between the backbone and the ribs. It's only later, much later in the pregnancy, that they make the journey down.
And get this, that original connection isn't just a bit of history, it sticks around. The blood vessels and the nerves that supply the testicles are still connected all the way back to that starting point up by the kidneys. The source mentions that this is why, for instance, an injury down there can cause that deep, aching pain way up in your abdomen. It's called referred pain. This whole journey, called testicular descent, is a super well-known medical process, and when it doesn't happen right, it's a known medical issue.
So you've got knocking stars and fetal journeys? Why? What's the point of all this? Well, according to the source, this isn't just a science lesson. These incredible signs are being used as powerful oaths. They're building a foundation for a much, much bigger idea: divine accountability. The way the source explains it is this. Just like there's this mind-blowing precision in the universe and in our own bodies, there's also a precise system watching over us.
The verses say that every single person has a guardian, a protector, making sure that absolutely nothing goes unnoticed or unrecorded.
And all of this leads to this idea of a day when everything comes out, a day of judgment. The text says it's a day when all the secrets are put on trial. The source describes it as a time when everything that was hidden or twisted or only half told is finally revealed for what it truly is, in its complete, unfiltered context.
And the whole chapter builds to this one final, really powerful idea. As the source interprets it, it all comes down to a contrast between the plans that people make and the ultimate, divine plan.
You can see it right here. It's like the ultimate confrontation. On one side, you've got all the clever schemes and complicated plots of people trying to undermine the message. But on the other side, well, the text says there's God's plan. And it's so vast and all-encompassing that it just sort of absorbs and overrides everything else.
And then comes the last line, and it's just delivered with this incredible sense of calm. The source makes a great point here. In any human conflict, the last thing you do is give your opponent time, right? You press your advantage. But the message here is the exact opposite. It's saying when you're talking about the divine plan, there's no rush at all. So this whole explainer really boils down to a fascinating look at interpretation, doesn't it? It leaves you with this big, provocative question to chew on. What happens when you take these ancient, mysterious words and you look at them through the lens of modern scientific discovery? What other hidden layers of meaning are just waiting to be found?